Well, hello, hello, hello. You are watching the No Brainers Empowering Possibilities show. Dialogues of encouragement with fresh perspectives, invitations to ahas, a little bit of science, a dash of behavioral psychology, and a whole lot of creative fun. So if leveling up is on your radar, my friend, you're at the right show. I'm your host, Roseanne Marsh, author of the Teen and Parent Empowerment Curriculum called Level Up. And you are listening to episode number 5. Start out the year, Feng Shui. Set the stage for the year. It's a fresh new year and a time for a fresh start. It's a great time to plan for the future with our actions of what to do now to make it happen. Resolutions and goals and bucket list wishes are important right now. But do you want to put some power boost in all your goals and your planning? Do you want to do something fun? Well, it's what we do in January, planning out the to-do list of our goals, but more importantly, planning out who we want to become by establishing the habits that support who we want to become. That's the creator's way of moving into a future of your choice. What if I told you there is a step to do along with our resolutions that we need to take at the beginning of the year, that if we do this, it will create emotional room for all of the new to come in. And if we don't do it, well, it could take our well-laid plans and just make them a little bit harder. There's a saying by Joshua Becker that is, the first step in crafting a life you want is getting rid of everything that you don't. Well, today we're going to prepare for this abundant, amazing new year by setting ourselves up with the foundation, the backdrop, and the energy that will welcome in our hopes and our dreams of the new year. And it can take as little as 15 minutes of our day. So what am I talking about? Clearing out the clutter from our homes so that we can clear the clutter from our minds. We're going to take a snapshot view of the benefits of cleaning up and clearing out by focusing on the why it's there in the first place, by asking some powerful questions. There are lots of ways to organize your home, and I'm a believer of Feng Shui, or the positioning of things in your home for a better flow of energy. But that is not our focus today. We're going to influence for good our future by, instead of Feng Shui, we're going to do it Fun Sway. Okay, it's a play on words, but does clearing up our clutter mean that it has to be arduous or difficult? Well, if we want it to be, it can be. Or if we're super unorganized, it could be. But what if we take it a step by step in small little chunks that can make a difference and start making incremental habits that can not only clear the clutter from our spaces, but clear the clutter from our minds, so that those New Year's resolutions and those goals can be more crystal clear. Does that sound enticing? Have you ever been away from home and for maybe a number of days, and then you walk back home into a room with fresh eyes and you look around and you're like, whoa, what happened here? Did somebody come in and mess up my room? Sometimes we get so used to the clutter that's piling up that it's almost invisible to us until we distance ourselves for a moment. And that, or if we get that call from guests that say, hey, we're coming in from out of town in the next couple of days. And then suddenly we start looking at our home with different eyes and are like, we got to clean up. We got to get rid of all these piles. The piles and the books at the foot of the bed that seem to grow 5 feet, and the baskets of laundry that are still waiting for its spa day or growing impatient. Yep, there's nothing like a new pair of eyes to start seeing where we are creating on the exterior what is happening in the interior. I'm talking about in our mind. Are there rooms that you would right now say, yikes, where did all this stuff come from? Well, here's a statement that I know you will totally understand. It didn't place itself there by accident. We put it there, or our family put it there, or we brought it into our homes, and now we have stuff everywhere, and maybe only in a few places. But here is the sobering fact. It is said, and I can attest to this, ever since I learned this 8 years ago, our environment is a direct reflection of what is going on in the mind. And our environment affects our state of mind. Let me repeat that. Our environment is a direct reflection of what's going on in our mind, and our environment affects our state of mind and our productivity and our mental capacity. So, wait, you mean my desk that looks like paperwork just vomited all over it really is an indication of my state of mind right now? Probably so. Okay. Yes. So, if we really want to know what is going on in our subconscious, which is in the neural system of our body and our mind, we just need to take a walk around our home, and especially places where we spend a lot of time, and just observe. Where do you spend the most time? Is it in your office, your bedroom, your family room, the kitchen, your laundry room, your car? And what happens to all the stuff that doesn't have a home? Does it immediately take up residency in the garage? Look around you right now and see if what you're looking at may resemble something you're experiencing or something that you are preoccupied with. So can I get really vulnerable for a minute and show you what my desk looked like during the holidays when I was bringing my son home from his studies in Costa Rica, finishing a curriculum writing a TV show, preparing Christmas, and yes, there are vitamins and water bottles and Kleenexes and oh, holy cow. I had to stop and say, take a minute to reorganize, cleanse, refresh, and then start anew. But it wasn't about just cleaning up the desk. It was about asking myself some key questions that would keep me from getting it back in this situation. And we're going to go over a few of those questions that you can ask yourself in just a minute. I want to share with you a powerful experience I had 8 years ago that took me on a journey of learning a little about the stuff I had and the meaning of my clutter. This all came from a challenge that I was issued to not only clean up my clutter, but to revamp my entire home and learn the emotional meaning behind all the things I owned. Don't worry, because we are also going to go into some fun steps we can do to clear out the clutter. But I want you to understand why that journey I had 8 years ago has prompted me to share some New Year tips that could possibly bring you ahas and enlightenment about your own stuff. So Christmas 2013, the 2.5-year remodel of our home that we had lived in for 18 years was complete. And we moved back in with my then husband, 2 boys, 2 dogs. And in January, began to unload all the different storage units we had rented out for years and years that held boxes and bins that we hadn't looked at in for probably a decade. And the expanded garages we had now were full of the stuff, and so full that we couldn't even park the cars inside. It was overwhelming moving back into a larger home, more places to put things. You think that'd be a blessing, but there was just a lot of stuff. And you know what it's like when you move into a new home and you're trying to make it functional again. So fast forward now to that fall in our new home. And my husband told me he was leaving the family and moving to California. We were stunned, and I went into fear and wondered how, now that we had just built this beautiful new home, how would I support my boys and myself, as I'd given up my career 10 years prior to stay home to raise kids while my husband traveled. Here was my immediate solution that may seem very irrational, but I started packing the freezers with meats and meals. I stocked the pantry from top to bottom with things we would need to stay fed. It's as if I couldn't store enough commodities to take away the fear of how will we survive? Can you see how my subconscious fears were literally showing up in my home, in my pantry, in my fridge, and my freezers? And it's interesting how our environment is sending us messages. And some of the messages are so subtle, and some are really in our face. But at that time, I didn't know how to read the messages, and I certainly didn't know that I could ask questions and get answers. Did you catch that? We can ask questions to our stuff and get answers if we pay attention. Now, interestingly enough, I had watched a show about hoarding. Maybe some of you have watched those. On this particular show, a gal had a collection of glass horses. And I mean, not just a few of them, she had gazillions of them. And I thought immediately, oh my gosh, she's trying to recapture some piece of joy from her past. Sure enough, in the course of the show, they revealed that she had a boyfriend earlier in life that had given her one little glass horse. And after they broke up, it was the only thing that she had from him. So she collected to regain some of those past memories. Interesting that I could watch that show and see the possible mental messages that were showing up in the homes of those that were collecting and not taking out. But I hadn't made the connection with my own home. And I wasn't a hoarder. My stuff was in boxes and yes, some piles once in a while, but I wasn't a hoarder, or was I? After my divorce, I started one box at a time to pick through what I had, but life was busy and my progress was slow. A friend called me one night and she said, "Hey, at the local church, they have an organizer that's coming to teach a class on how to organize your home." And I was like, wow, I was so excited because this was exactly what I wanted to know. You know, what were all those organizer boxes and what were the ways to label them? And yes, sign me up. I wanted to not only go, but I had my notebook ready. I was going to take all these notes. And well, the class was much different than I anticipated. In fact, I didn't really get it until 5 months later when I was in the middle of a major cleanup and unboxing. You see, that evening at the class, the instructor started out by saying, everything deserves to live the measure of its creation. If you have things you have not used in years, allow it its freedom and give it a new home. Okay, I agree with that, albeit there were a lot of things I had for a lot of years that, well, how could I part with them? But it was the next part of the class that was confusing to me. She said, the first place to start is in your storage room where you have all those things packed away for a long time. Oh, wait, I thought, why would I start in my storage room? That's out of sight and out of mind, right? She continued, start where you have the most stuff to go through. Donate, throw away, and keep only those things that you can't possibly part with. Okay, I was confused. What about my junk drawer? She didn't mention a junk drawer. She didn't even talk about the labels. She didn't even talk about cute little organizer boxes that every online organizer was touting. Okay, I thought, I need to contemplate this class. I had 2 huge garages now that were now my storage units. If I had to start there, this would be a very long project. So I decided to meditate on the whole thing, ponder and meditate and get a feel in my heart what I needed to do. I needed the universe to guide me through this project. I needed to get organized. And this professional was saying, start with the most stuff. Interesting, because as I was asking the universe and my higher self, yes, praying about what I need to do, I had the distinct impression that I needed to take the next 3 months and dedicate every moment that I had going through every box, every closet, every drawer, every file cabinet, everything I owned, and everything my boys owned, and weigh what needed to happen there. Would I give a new home to those things that still had value? Would I throw it out if it couldn't be recycled? Would I keep only those things that meant a lot to me or contribute to my life? It was October 31st, Halloween. And I had a deadline to have it all done by January 31st, 3 months. I ordered a dumpster in my driveway. I hired the next door neighbor, and that became my job for the next 3 months. I canceled any committees I was on. I didn't even go to lunch for my birthday. I would get the kids to school in the morning, and then I would work like crazy to go through what I felt like was acres of boxes. When the kids came home, I was mom for the night, but the next morning I'd get up and I'd make it happen all over again. I had so many friends that say, oh, just take more time, just slow down. But no, I had been given a goal. I had been given a deadline, and I was going to make it happen. There were constant runs to the thrift store for donations. The dumpster was filling up. It was slow going through boxes of cords, sports things that still looked new, toys for infants, holiday decorations that never seemed to end. And while I had my nose to the grindstone, there were certain things that made me stop and ask, why do I have these? What has compelled me to stay attached to this? What is the message or emotional significance that I could assign to the stuff that was serving me in some way? And I was surprised. I'm gonna be honest. I was surprised at the emotions that I was feeling as I went from box to box. I wasn't expected to revisit my past with each box I untaped and each item I took out. I had no idea that was going to happen. But isn't that what we have in those boxes? Our past? Yes, decorations are an annual celebration, but there's certainly things that could almost talk out loud to me. And I was surprised at the answers. Can I share a couple of them with you? When I unboxed all the infant clothes from my boy set, there was a reminiscing of those innocent babies, and I could remember them in their little outfits that I had tucked away. But I tucked away for what? To let them have them when they move away? What will they use those for? And then it struck me. I was holding on to those precious little tiny clothes because it reminded me of a simpler time, a time of innocence, time when they were dependent upon me, a time of joy watching them explore and discover, a time when they thought their mom was pretty cool. Now in junior high and high school, life was just, well, more complicated. I kept several cute things for both of them. I cried with tears of joy. I expressed gratitude in my heart for the opportunity to be a mother. And then I donated the majority to charity. Another learning was when I went through some office supplies. I was finding lots of pens and notebooks in lots of different places. But when I gathered them all together, I had hundreds of fine point pens and I had hundreds of notebooks, all spiral bound. Why do I have so many of these? Why have I gathered them and continued to gather them? Did I just forget that I had them? And as I pondered and thought about it, the impression came so strong to me. And it was, you've had so much to say, and we're never allowed to say it. Here in my hundreds of pens and notebooks were the unwritten words that I was yet to write. So just a side note, since then I've gone through half of those notebooks and they're full of written words and learnings. But before I tell you the end of my purging and cleansing adventure, is there anything in your home right now that you're thinking, wait, I wonder what message it has for me? What is the significance behind why I have hung on to this? Is there something I need to recognize or release so that I can allow that item to become a fond memory and not just take up my present mind space? Think, what are you curious about right now? What questions can you ask your stuff? Going back, I had cleansed, purged, gathered, organized, cried, laughed, got angry, and pondered for 11 weeks and 6 days. And on the last day of my deadline, it was 11 p.m. at night. And I had a class I had to teach the next day that I hadn't even prepared yet. But sitting in front of me were the last 6 bins that I needed to go through. I had worked day and most nights for 3 months, organized my home, my garage, my kitchen gadgets, the nuts and bolts, the batteries, the bandanas. And now I was at the finish line with 1 hour to go and 6 boxes in front of my weary but happy eyes. I had been on the most exquisite journey of healing, discovery, unveiling, and releasing that I have ever been on. And who would have thought it would have been accomplished and taught through the stuff that I had accumulated throughout the years? As I sat in front of the 6 boxes, which were, by the way, my junior high and my high school years' clothing, memorabilia, and schoolwork, I balanced making it to the finish line, breaking through that tape, or preparing a class that I needed to write. As I checked in with my heart, I knew that those junior high and high school boxes were going to teach me a ton of things. I was going to be revisiting a lot of memories, and I wanted to take my time processing all the emotion and feeling that was bringing up. I stacked the boxes neatly to the side of the room, and I let out a celebratory hooray. For me, it was a big win. For my home, it was a big win. Every drawer was a masterpiece. Everything had a place. Every nook and cranny had been cleaned and spit polished. Items had been donated or sold to fulfill the measure of their creation. And the flow of my home felt so good. I got it. I finally got what the professional organizer was talking about when she said, start in the storage room when you were cleaning out. Our storage rooms are where the oldest energy and oldest memories are. It's the stuck energy. I may never have 3 months again in my life that I can dedicate to just purging all my belongings. And I didn't do it alone. I had help from friends that I hired, but the giving away was so freeing. It allowed space for the new to come in, and my mental clarity was clearer and freer. A friend of mine uses the analogy often of the Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea in Israel. Both are fed by the River Jordan. The Sea of Galilee has water flow in, and as it receives, it also has water flow out. And because of this, it's beautiful and it sustains life. But the Dead Sea, on the other hand, only takes water, but it gives nothing back. And as a result, it sustains no life at all. It's stagnant, it's dead. So with us, if we only take in and never release, there's stuck energy. There's no flow, no room for the new, and room to appreciate what we have. So let's start out the new year by cleaning up our clutter and letting go of the old to bring in the new. And how can we make this Feng Shui, a play off on Feng Shui, which is all about creating flow in our home, or influence the energy in our homes? And before I give you the Feng Shui, I want to put in a pitch for calendar in when you will tackle the stuck energy of your storage room or your garage. Can I say that maybe it too can be incremental? Maybe it's every weekend you set a timer for 30 minutes and you go out or down or into the storage room or garage and you work for 30 minutes. Put on some soothing music so that you can feel the emotions that will open up, because they can and will if you allow them. And then ask the questions. Why do I have this? Do I need this? Could I borrow it if I need it again? Can this fulfill its mission living someplace else? Can I take a picture and let it free? And the big one, why am I still hanging on to this? What am I avoiding? What in the past has me stuck here? Or if it's from a loved one, how can I best honor that person? Is it through my memories or is it through housing their belongings? There's a lot of psychology behind our stuff. And if you are open, you will hear the messages that your stuff is telling you, and then the significance we have given the tangible that we keep. Move the stuck to make room for the new you, the new year. If we don't get to the root of why we are storing things, it will continue to happen. So come on, be brave. Let's start moving the energy. Okay, now, Feng Shui. This is going to be fun, so you may want to teach your kids this. Decluttering can be as simple as 15 minutes a day, and it can possibly turn into your favorite time of the day because we're going to mix it up with some motivating energy. Here's your setup. Number one, we're going to play the game of Feng Shui, or in other words, move the energy of your home to a place of fun, order, and freedom. And to play this game, you need to arm yourself with a couple things. The first thing is like a basket box or a donation sack. This you're going to keep filling this through the week, and at the end of the week, you're going to donate it. The second thing you need is a garbage sack or a garbage can to be able to just throw them away. The third thing to have is some yummy spray cleaner. Not the chemicals, not the yucky stuff. Preferably, you can make your own, with 5 drops of essential oils with maybe a splash of vinegar and water. If you're using that on stone, don't use the vinegar. But what you could do is a couple tablespoons of dish soap the water, and the oils. So make you up a yummy concoction and have some paper towels or soft rags so you can wipe down or clean the surface as you're cleaning, or the drawer space. Hey, we are creating great change here, and you will feel the difference even if you only have a tiny little space that you're accomplishing in that 15 minutes. The fourth is you need to make your best playlist. A 15-minute playlist with dance songs that make you move, get your heart pumping and your feet tapping. Why music? Because it raises our mood and our emotions, and it allows us to have a higher level of decision making. Do not put on a podcast or a book on tape. We're going for some high velocity decision making skills, some body grooving, and creating order in the twinkle of an eye. Stay focused for at least 15 minutes and add in a couple turns, some dance jumps, maybe some splits, air splits. Have fun with this. So pre-planning, where to start. You decide where your focus is for the week so that when you get up, you know where your 15 minutes is. What room do you spend the most time in? Or which room do you avoid? And why is that? What areas affect your New Year's resolutions? And maybe start there. Good places to start are kitchens, bedrooms, bathrooms, your office, your car. If you have kids, maybe it's there. Which one has the most yikes factor to it? Countertops are a great place to start. One drawer at a time is so fulfilling. So get those tunes cranked up, put on your music, and yes, get your groove on as you pull everything out of the cabinet, spray it down, and before you place anything back, wipe those things down also. Make quick decisions. Does it stay? Is it donated? Is it thrown away? Quick. Wipe things down, place the organized things back. Now it's time for a quick turn, a little bit of dance moves just as the last song plays. And then I want you to thank. Yes, thank the things that you had in your house. Thank the junk that you just threw away. Thank the donation box of how it has served you. And thank the newly organized counter, shelf, or drawer, or portion of the closet that you just brought to a new energy. Then end it with a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And you are teaching your brain that organizing, cleaning, and sorting are satisfying and not daunting. Now, does that not sound fun? Fun sway, you heard it here. Your kids will get a kick out of trying this, and it's an immediate boost. I described 2 ways of dejunking and uncluttering for the new year. One is fast and a fun way to sway the energy in your home. And the other is to allow you to feel the emotion from that packed away, stored, stuck possessions. Are you wondering what to do with those emotions once they come up? Or do you have emotions from the past experience that you're avoiding because they're painful? If you're interested in learning the journey of empowerment, the journey of healing, I have a course, a journey for parents, adults, and teens called Level Up. There's a chapter all about healing our wounds. For more information, you can go to nobrainers.com/learn more, or you can visit our website, nobrainers.com. Our environment is a direct reflection of what is going on in our mind, and our environment affects our state of mind. Let's ring in the new year, boosting our goals with a little fun sway and the freedom it can give us. As always, tools to empower our lives don't need to be fancy or complicated. Sometimes they're just no-brainers. Thank you for spending this time with me. And until next time, let's go out and create.